welcome back to Real Reviews. This is Cody Williams, and we're here to talk about the movie Paranormal Activity. Similar to the Blair Witch Project, this is also another found footage movie that utilizes the shaky camera aspect. I've always been a fan of found footage horror movies, as they have a sense of like watching an actual documentary, so to speak. It feels authentic and gives genuine feelings of terror to the viewer. In some cases, I find small-budget indie horror movies to be much more better than your average big studio film. In this case, this particular movie is way more scarier than your typical horror flick. Let's get more in depth about it, shall we? The movie story follows a couple, Katie and Micah, who move into their new home while their trip is being documented on a video recorder. After strange events happen over the course of several nights, Katie admits that since she was a little girl, she once experienced a malevolent spiritual presence. She is then worried that it may have followed her to their new place. Micah, being skeptical, sets up his camera in their bedroom to capture any overnight paranormal activity. Over the next few days, they see objects move by themselves and become convinced that there is a spiritual presence in their home. I will say that this is one of those movies that will always keep you on the edge of your seat, not knowing what to expect next. It's very nerve-wracking, to say the least. What I admire about this movie is that it doesn't rely on your cheap false scares and deafening loud noises which your typical big studio horror movie has. Where this particular movie excels at is the tremendous use of built-up tension and suspense as you're watching the footage that's being recorded. If you really want to get the most optimal viewing out of this movie, watch it with all the lights turned off and have the volume cranked up. Until then, I promise you that you will have quite the hair-raising experience watching this movie. Surprisingly, the characters in this movie are not as obnoxious like in your typical horror movie. During the nighttime scenes, the acting is truly spot-on perfect. Unfortunately, during some of the daytime scenes where nothing is happening, their characters don't feel genuine for my liking. The clever use of sound design throughout are really the movie's biggest selling point. The two lead characters are haunted by a supposed demon that we never truly get to see, but you can only hear it in this case. For instance, you'll hear a creak on the floor, loud thumping, or any other weird noises. This movie has a big relying abundance of audio cues to really frighten the audience, along with some minor visual stuff. I don't scare easily, but I will admit that I do get somewhat creeped out in some of the movie scenes. I wouldn't praise it as one of the scariest movies I've seen. However, it does a fairly decent job at it for the most part. Not everyone is going to agree with me on this, which is fine, but believe it or not, I find Paranormal Activity to be a good, scary movie. I don't want to overhype it by any means, but somehow, I'm always unsettled a little bit after watching it. Even though it does have issues with the script and the acting during the daytime scenes, everything seems to somehow work out in its favor whenever something paranormal does occur. I give this movie a B+. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Keep up with my real reviews.